Hi everybody, welcome back to the cabin. Well, September, second week of September I think it is. Yeah, 10th I think it is today. And the weather has changed dramatically. In 1 week it's gone from 30 degrees Celsius with humidity down to actually risk of patchy frost tonight. So we'll see how that impacts the garden. Got my first fire going inside, doing some cooking outside on the grill and on in the outdoor oven, the earthen oven, but also inside. Probably going to finish off the tomato sauce to get it canned, maybe inside in the fireplace. I wanted to give everybody a quick update though on just how the place is faring, how it went through the summer, and what kind of condition everything is in right now. One of the questions I get asked a lot is how the moss roof is doing on the sauna. So I'm going to show you that right now. You'd be surprised. I'm surprised actually how, well, let me show it to you. This is the south side of the sauna, literally facing directly south, slope south. And the moss and some weeds and stuff are growing fine. I'm fine with the weeds. I don't care what grows on there, as long as it continues to build up in mass so it provides some insulation to the inside. The moss is much better than that soil and other vegetation because it's got all the air pockets in the soil, or in the moss itself, and it absorbs the water and holds the water up there too until I get a sauna fire going, and then it dries it out. But it's surviving, and it's and providing insulation as well, which you'll see in the winter, or you did last year for sure. So this is the north side of the sauna. We got a lot of heavy rain. Actually, here's a mushroom here that the squirrel stashed and started eating up in the eaves here. Yeah, a lot of rain, so that's been part, or big, well, probably the main reason that it's stayed alive and actually probably been growing, not just staying alive. Pretty consistent rain over the summer, although it's extremely hot summer. But it was on and off, and this is pretty well shaded in here, so, and you know, kept it alive for that reason. But also, don't use the sauna much in the summer. Only had a few fires in there, so that didn't dry it out. I would imagine with the summer heat and then firing up the wood stove all the time would have probably, maybe it would have killed it even, I'm not sure. The outhouse slash storage shed, tool shed, is doing well still too. It's held up, it's nice and dry. This is actually one of the very first things I built. So it's gray on this side and not so gray on that side. It's gray on this side because I built that, kind of assembled it in wall segments in the door, and then left that aside in the bush, and this one was the exposed one on top, so it turned gray. It's before I assembled the whole outhouse. Remember, originally, before I built the cabin, I built a thunderbox, which is the part inside that you just, with the toilet seat cut out, or the hole cut out, and I had it down here with a hole dug in the ground, just sitting on top of that with a lid on it, and it was just open to the air. But quickly realized that because of the function, or how often I was going to be here, changed. It went from just a temporary thunderbox, didn't really care about the weather, to needing something a little bit more sheltered, and especially during bug season. Winter, it's just slightly better than being outside, but for sure during bug season it's nice to be inside, or when it's raining. So that's holding up well. Probably another year before I need to slide it back and dig a new hole. Decomposes pretty quickly. So happy with that, happy with the function of it, and happy with the distance to the cabin, the proximity to the cabin. It's probably, I always judge everything by how far typical practice archery shot is with traditional equipment, which is about 20 yards. So that's maybe 15 yards from here to the cabin, so 45 feet or so. Cabin itself is holding up well. I'm going to give you a full cabin tour probably in the next couple of months, once the got a couple of changes I'm making to that back room, and then I'll give you a cabin tour. But the cabin itself is holding up well. This is the time of year that I get more nervous about it during the winter, because there's no fire. I'm not having a fire in the wood stove, so it's not drying it out. And I was always afraid that it's going to get too musty and start to get moldy inside. But that's not the case. The floor thing, I didn't put ventilation into that hole in the floor, so that tends to get moldy, so I have to prop that open at least once a week for a while, let the air circulate in there, and just put the lid back down and then cover it back over. So that's really the only spot that gets potentially moldy and musty smelling. The cabin itself is pretty good. I've been keeping the windows open almost all the time a crack. I think that's the main difference. Last year I didn't do that. I was more nervous about like raccoons trying to get in and scratching the screening, but that's not the case I'm finding. So able to leave those cracked, and then that window or the ventilation screen that I put in the upper loft, that made a major difference too. So with the windows open in the bottom floor, upper floor with that vent, the air is able to circulate right through the cabin, and it's kept it not smelling damp and musty, which, like I said, I'm really happy with that. Foundation seems to be holding up well. A lot of people were concerned that I didn't raise the cabin and put it on rocks, but what it's sitting on is just all gravel. And then that was before I was torching stuff, so the bottom board is not torched, but I did put pine tar and then a membrane underneath that, between that and the soil. And the bottom course of logs seems to be holding up perfectly fine from what I can see so far. That would be maybe one of my concerns though over time, is that that's where the failure point's going to be. And at that point, because I built it on one long sleeper, I always figured I could jack the cabin up at that point and then build a foundation underneath it, or leave it where it is height wise and dig it out and build a stone foundation. So that's possibly in the future. The roof itself is doing fairly well. The charcoal is eroding. It's starting to come off where I torch the boards. I think if I was to do that again, and I have been doing it for different types of projects, I would torch it deeper so that literally looks like alligator skin, so really coarse charcoal, where that was more kind of surface charcoal, charred, and should have been deeper and then oiled, really. But because of the steepness of the slope, it's the boards aren't showing any signs of deterioration at all after 3 years. So again, I'm happy with that. Kitchen, same thing. Gets a lot of heat in there periodically or regularly from the outdoor or the earthen oven and the grill. So that tends to dry the whole structure out often. And it's nice and airy, so it gets a good breeze through there, and the sun gets on it part of the day. So again, I'm not having any moisture issues on that. Looks like it's going to hold up for a lot of years. Yeah, sauna, same thing. That's a little bit more elevated on rock, so foundation of that's fine. The wood shed, not too concerned about it, but I burned the bottom of those posts and sunk them in the ground. That's doing fine. I only had tar paper on that roof. I do have metal roofing that I bought like last year and haven't gotten around to install that, so I'm going to before winter sets in so that the snow can shed off easier. Not much else to update you on, other than you're seeing the progress on the garden and the root cellar, underground root cellar, and change of plans. The pond is filling up nicely, as you can see, but it's I see that it's low at the far end, so I'm going to have to build that up with more clay, get that probably 2 or 3 feet deeper so that it holds, and it's at the same level as the rest of the banks, and also so that the water doesn't overflow at that low point and then erode the whole bank out, and then I would lose the whole dam and the whole pond. So got to address that. But the pad for the greenhouse is nice and flat, and it's draining pretty well. The spot for the workshop, I got some big changes coming up with that, so we'll talk about that in the future. But that pad is draining really nicely down to the pond too, and it's nice and dry even though we've had a ton of rain, so I'm happy with that location. Longhouse is holding up well as well, so I'm also happy with that, and surprised how well that structure is held up. Looking forward to spending more time in that and getting the guys back up and doing something else. Just kind of finishing that off, closing in some of the holes and sleeping in it a couple of times before the next project start. Yeah, I think that's it. It's like I said, second week of September. It's time to get ready for winter. I expect month and a half we'll start getting snow periodically, which typically will melt, and then 2 months from now we're going to be right into the beginning of winter. So I need to get all the firewood that's been cut and drying all around the property, get that, well, more of it into the woodshed, get that full. That woodshed deceiving. It's actually big enough to provide a full year's worth of burning, and then I just continue to top it back up as I use it. But there's lots of wood. I've got probably 3 or 4 years of firewood around the property right now that I just need to get under different shelter, into this shelter, or piled up closer to the cabin or to the workshop. And the sauna. So I'm cooking up some mushrooms today, wild mushrooms, and also some shiitake. So my sister picked up some shiitake logs for me, and they're just pre-inoculated, 3-foot long logs, and the shiitake start coming like crazy growing out of that, especially with this damp weather that we're having now. So that's what I'm making up today: shiitake, what else? Milk cap and oysters. That the milk caps and the oysters are from wild here on the property, and the shiitakes are from those logs. But also, my friend Jerry Herod, who I met out in Alaska last year, he showed us around. It was very nice of him to kind of act as our guide for a little bit, and he brought us to that Pink Salmon River. But this spring he cooked, or harvested or foraged morel mushrooms from around, I guess, Kenai or around Anchorage. So I don't know if he can do this around here, but he brought this to a company or somebody he knows, and they packaged them. They dehydrated and packaged the morels for him. So I thought that was pretty interesting. It's one mushroom we've never found. We found a couple where we used to live, but have not found any morels up here. So these are like perfectly dehydrated. They look almost as like you just pick them, but into pieces like this. So they dehydrate quicker, I guess, and more thoroughly. So they're completely dry and like a feather. So I'm going to rehydrate these and put these in the meal as well. Looking forward to trying that. I'll do a couple separate too, just so I can taste them on their own. Anyway, thanks, Jared. Jared, I don't think has a YouTube channel, but he is on Instagram if you want to check him out there. Goes by AK Scenic, so Alaska Scenic. Speaking of dehydrated mushrooms, we've been dehydrating our own as well this year. Again, a really abundant year for mushrooms this year because of the heat and the high humidity and the rain that we've been getting. So kind of a historic year. So we've been collecting so much, can't possibly eat them without them going to waste or without them deteriorating before we eat them. So been dehydrating. So a whole bunch of different kinds. Oysters, lots of oysters, lobster mushrooms, chicken of the woods, pickling chicken in the woods. Just got smoke going in my eyes here. Chanterelles, varnish shelf, a couple other ones. Anyway, so plan is to continue to dehydrate it, find them as many as possible, dehydrate them, and use them in stews and soups and stuff throughout the winter until next mushroom season. So really enjoying this year, how much food we're producing and harvesting from the land. And with hunting season approaching the next couple of weeks, I'll be definitely spending more time at that this year than usual as well. Make sure I can get all the meat ready for the year, harvested and stored and preserved. Anyway, back to cooking. So that's it. I hope that answers some of your questions, and hope you're following along. Please subscribe to both channels if you're interested in watching this outdoor lifestyle and watching me build and develop more things from the land. Appreciate everybody watching. I appreciate everybody. I love hearing these stories about people that have been watching since a certain period of time, and a lot of you have been watching literally since I was just doing canoe trips and fishing trips and stuff 5 years ago, I guess it is now. So thank you for sticking around, and thanks for continuing to support me and the channel. So I'm going to get back to work, so thanks for watching, and I look forward to seeing you back here at the cabin next time. Take care.